Hello, podcast listeners. You are now listening to the Coffee, Health, and Science podcast. I'm your host, Jordan River, and I want to thank you for tuning in today. Before we get started, I urge you to share the Coffee, Health, and Science podcast. Share an episode. Share this episode. This would be a good one to spread around. It really helps us grow. Make sure you're subscribed. Give us a good rating and review. We do appreciate that here at the CHSP. Today, we are doing the first installment of Ask Dr. Coffee. I mentioned this last episode. If you guys have questions regarding coffee, regarding health, regarding things you've heard on this show, you can go ahead and write us. puritycoffeepodcast@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. We will answer your question on air. And logically, we have Dr. Coffee on the line. How's it going, my friend?
It's going phenomenal.
Oh.
It's going phenomenal.
Oh, because it's Ask Dr. Coffee Day?
Well, I like that too, but I got a couple of emails from some people who said that they put their coffee seed in the dirt.
Yes.
And have been spraying it and keeping it under light, and they're seeing a little pop-up of a leaf.
I love it. Absolutely. Thank you for doing that, Dr. Coffee. That was really cool. I still have mine. I've not germinated yet. I've been very busy here at the end of the month, but that is on my list. And you know that I'm going to be posting pictures at Jordan River IG on Instagram is where you're going to see my coffee tree. And I just appreciate that so much for all the listeners.
And at any point that we want to offer it again, let me know. We can get a list of other listeners who would like to plant the coffee tree.
100%. We're going to do a round 2, and I've already been gathering. We'll get together enough people. We'll ship that out. And that's all just Dr. Coffee being generous to you guys. So that's really, really cool of him. And it's cool of the listening audience and the subscribing audience to really respond so well. You guys, you went ahead and planted them. You've been thanking us. You've been sending a lot of positive energy our way, and we appreciate that. Kind of culminates in today's episode. You guys have sent us a lot of great questions. We've picked out 4. I'm sure we'll go down in different directions as we explore these questions. But let's go ahead and dive into the first installment of Ask Dr. Coffee. You ready to go, Dr. Coffee?
Ready and willing.
All right. Well, this first one, I wanted to put this right at the top of the list because it's a general question, and this is something that I actually see a lot on Instagram. You know, the word organic and organic certification in general. It's a hot topic. It's actually a controversial topic, but people ask why they should drink organic coffee, and there's actually a lot of good reasons when it specifically comes to coffee organic certification. But Dr. Coffee, what do you tell people when they ask why should I drink organic coffee specifically?
So let's set the stage for the Ask Dr. Coffee podcast. When people ask me a question, I'm going to do the homework and make sure that we can really delve into the question and not just a 2-line, here's what I mean. So let's understand organic. Organic refers to the natural way that farmers grow and process their agricultural products, such as grains, dairy products, and meat. It means enhancing the soil and water quality, reducing pollution, providing safe, healthy livestock habits, enabling natural livestock behavior, promoting a self-sustaining cycle of resources on a farm, means not using synthetic things, so not synthetic fertilizers or pesticides.
Right.
It means having a sewage system for sludge as fertilizer. It means not irradiating or eliminating disease or pests. And it means no genetic engineering or antibiotics. So that's the basis for organic.
In general.
Now,
right.
Right. So in that world of organic, there's a difference between when we talk about livestock and we talk about plants.
Right.
And especially when we talk about coffee plants, because coffee plants have their own need.
Yeah, big time.
So coffee needs certain types of soils. Coffee needs to be grown in a microclimate. Higher altitude for coffee is important. Once you're using pesticides or chemical synthetic fertilizers with coffee, those seeds really collect them.
Yeah.
And they they bring them into the seed in a much higher concentration than you would normally find with just a plant.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
actually
they're
disturbing how it
concentrated.
kind of affects the genetics, a lot of these chemical pesticides, and it's so systemic that it's found in generations later, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And especially in these microclimates, because we want to put a coffee up higher elevation, and that way the pests that really bother coffee aren't able to bother it as much because of the higher elevation. And so some people ask me, well, why is it more expensive to grow organic
Right.
than it is? I mean, you would think organic, you're not using the pesticides, you're not using blah, blah, blah. So why is it more expensive? You know, if you go shopping at any grocery store, you'll see that the prices for organic is higher, anywhere from 50 to 300% higher.
Right.
And there are certain foods that you might be able to get away with not doing organic, and there are certain foods that you have to do organic. Coffee is one of them.
Absolutely.
Because
I hate to interject here, but you just turned me on to two lists that I don't think we've brought up on this show. I have to bring up, what is it, the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen? Can we talk about those just really briefly?
we can.
I think that's, what is it? The Environmental Working Group, ewg.org. And it has, I think it's called the Clean 15, right? And it's 15 vegetables and fruits that, due to testing that they update every single year, are notoriously low in pesticide counts, even if you don't get organic. So this is, for instance, things that have like really hardy peels. Like I think avocados wind up on the list a lot, surprisingly. So these are the things that like you might be able to get away with. And then the opposite is the Dirty Dozen, where they test highest in pesticides. So it might be your highest leverage move to buy those specifically organic. Did I get those names right?
Yeah, I think you got those names right. We talk in terms of the Dirty Dozen, as you said, and the Clean 15. And let's see how good of a memory I have, because we weren't going to talk about this, so I didn't prepare. So
Total curveball.
let's see if I have dementia yet. So the Dirty Dozen are apples, blueberries,
Right.
celery, cherries, grapes, lettuce, nectarines and peaches, potatoes, strawberry, and then the greens like spinach, kale, and collard, bell peppers, and coffee.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Those are your those are your Dirty Dozen, the ones you should never eat unless they're organic.
Damn. Okay. Wow. Impressive. Yeah. And I think that they update this list. So check it out, listeners. ewg.org, not .com. And I think it's under research. Go and check it out, everyone. I'm sure a Google result would also pull it. Everyone just uses Google now. But anyways, thank you for that for that quick
So
plug there.
the Clean 15 are asparagus, avocados, cabbage, eggplant, grapefruit, kiwi, mangoes, onions, papayas, pineapples, corn, cantaloupe,
Corn? Wow.
cauliflower, peas, and sweet potatoes.
Okay, interesting. I think I was pretty accurate there. Most of those Clean 15, it seems like they have really hardy peels, right? Like that makes a lot of sense that you're not. Whereas an apple or a cherry, you're just consuming whatever's been applied to the outside of that thing and really permeated that first layer. Even a mango, it's like a tougher, leathery peel. So I do believe that has a lot to do with it. But some of these things are systemic, meaning that you can just spray the leaves of the tree and it'll go into the whole system of the plant. And that just really freaks me out, man. But as you were saying, it's not just about not using pesticides and saving money. There's a lot that goes into organic farming. First of all, just paying for the certifications, but then also the actual activities themselves cost quite a bit of money.
Absolutely. And you just mentioned something I'd like to touch on. There is a difference between certified organic versus organic.
Exactly.
So organic certification is a stamp of approval from our USDA, and it confirms that the product was grown according to organic standards. So which means that it was produced without using excluded methods, which is genetic engineering,
Right.
ionization, radiation, or sewage sludge. It says that it's produced per the national list of allowed and prohibited substances. And it says that it's overseen by USDA National Organic Program certifying agent like USDA Organic Regulations. The cost of certification is an issue for some small farmers.
Right.
And when we talk about small farmers, the coffee industry is really at a constantly on a balance of whether it's going to survive or not.
Yeah, it's true.
You have a small farmer up in the mountain producing Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee. And if they have a bad weather season, and if you don't believe in global change, talk to one of these farmers, because climate change, because these farmers live and breathe by whether or not they're going to be alive for the next season based on the weather.
Yep.
So if they're wiped out for a season, a lot of times they're wiped out, period. Because there are these small micro farms. It's like this winery industry. I have a cousin who owns a vineyard out in California. And if they have a bad season, like with these fires this year, all their grapes went to smoke.
Whoa.
They're dead in the water.
That's so messed up, man. Yeah, and I know that you're going to face different challenges depending on where you are on the globe, but they talk about climate change threatening the exact type of climate that coffee is produced in. We've talked about this article and this study on this show, that something like 70% of all coffee farming land is like currently threatened by the way that climate is changing, increasing heat and longer drought periods, really, really damaging. Organic farming can actually help with that regenerative farming style. But I'm glad you made that differentiation between certified and not certified, because there are some small farmers who grow organically and they just never got the certification. And then I'm sure, like in any industry, there's probably people who got certified and then probably skirt the law to save money this or that way. Like, it's a really, it's a tough game, the organic certification, and really knowing what went into your product. It's more about transparency, I feel, than anything else.
It is. And, you've gone down to Colombia or that region.
It was nice to be there and see them doing it. So that was really reaffirming. But not everybody can do that, you know what I mean? But that was really life-changing, man, to see it in action.
Yeah, so a company like Purity Coffee will work with small organic farms that do conscious delivery of coffee. Mm-hmm. What was your experience when you went down there?
Oh man! First of all, it was absolutely incredible to be on the farms, because we partner with farms that do regenerative farming and then also test the highest in antioxidants. So the two that I visited that we are partnered with from Colombia are La Pradera and La Finca Primavera, and they were both so cool. Shout out to Oscar and Francisco. And I don't want to just turn this into blowing smoke for Purity, but it really is a special company, man, because they help these people get certified if they're not certified. They bought Oscar this other machine Oscar had invented with some German coffee maker. There were only two on the planet, and one was there, and it was an optical sorting machine that would separate beans, defective beans from non-defective beans, with an air puff based on an optical reader. Wild stuff. I'll make sure to go through all that content and make sure I uploaded anything that didn't get put on this show. It was really great, Dr. Coffee. And once COVID's up, we should get out there, me and you.
Absolutely love to. You're not going to find a store like Walmart or Target or Sam's Club that is going to work with these very small microclimate growers.
Right.
And
you have to up your coffee game. And again, Purity does above and beyond, but really just switching to organic. That's what I tell people. I mean, I talk about Purity a lot, but when people talk to me about coffee, I say organic is minimum. And there's just so much that go into that certification. I know that it's different for all sorts of different food products. So I don't want to speak on how well of a job the USDA does in general, but my understanding is that they do a very good job when it comes to coffee, even up to the way it's stored and transported, etc.
So to end the organic section, if you want to avoid health problems that pesticides can cause, then you should definitely choose an organic coffee. Organic coffee beans contain more antioxidants. One of the sources, WebMD, mentions how antioxidants are great at fending off free radicals. These are molecules that can inhibit the normal function of cells, can cause cancer, oxidative stress that leads to premature aging. These free radicals are contained in many pesticides that are used in coffee farming, which can also increase body fat. So you need to go organic.
Absolutely. And I do want to put a cap on this and get one opinion of yours, Dr. Coffee. Organic produce, specifically these plant medicines like coffee, they do come out better, more enjoyable, and more potent as medicine when they're farmed organically. We have testing to back that up. Just exactly what you referred to, higher antioxidant compound being a huge role in that. I was always wondering why. Why does organic farming kind of increase those beneficial phytochemicals? And in my research, talking to organic farming experts on this show and doctors on this show, I really think it comes down to the microbes in the soil, that the pesticides and synthetic fertilizer were killing off all these vast species of microbes working in the soil food web. And I believe that's what contributed to these increased expressions of flavor and more antioxidants and all of that. Do you have an opinion on that, Dr. Steve, or have you looked into that?
I do have an opinion on it. You know, you when you have these chemicals in the soil, not only do they change the microbiome of the soil, but they also replace some of the chemicals that are inside the coffee bean. So if you're going to have a set limit of space inside a coffee bean, and there should be water and some good things in there, and you replace it with pesticides or herbicides or insecticides, you only have so much room that the bean is gonna hold.
Right. So you're absolutely right. In the EDTA and the synthetic fertilizers, you are what you eat. That's a term we use for humans, but it's the same thing with plants. So you're right. The actual cell structure is created from some of this stuff. So, wow, we just went really deep. We might only get to 2 questions, but this is awesome, Dr. Coffee.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to correct something you just said.
What? What's that?
I don't believe you are what you eat. I believe you are what you digest. And that's why it's so important to have a healthy microbiome gut.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's going to hurt your gut. And the same thing with the food web. I could go deep on the comparisons there. But we got to make room for a couple questions. I mean, we probably have time for 1, 2 more. Which ones do you want to jump to here?
It's all up to you. I'm here for the duration.
I gotta get this question in. I'm jumping around a little bit, but someone was writing in talking about, you know, you kind of corrected something that I used to say on this show. I said that, and I'm sure this is true, some other doctor told me this, that there is some evidence to show that even the lowest qualities of coffee have some health benefits. But you were really the first person to come on this show and say, it's really about how you prepare it. You can't have what is the healthiest drink in the world, or basically one of the worst things you can put in your body. And someone wrote in asking about that and asking you to elaborate on coffee being the worst drink if you prepare it wrong. Could you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. So the question was, why do you call coffee one of the healthiest drinks or one of the worst drinks? And there are 2 answers to that. One of the answers is in its preparation, but the other answer is what you do to it before you'll drink it. Now, there's a subtle difference. When I talk about preparation, I'm not talking about sitting down with the coffee and putting in a teaspoon of sugar. That's what you do to it before you drink it. The preparation is your brewing process.
Right.
And that starts with the farming process. So If you take a good Arabica coffee bean that's grown in a microclimate, that's grown at a high elevation without pesticides or chemicals, so you're starting right away with a healthy bean. If you then grind it right before you're preparing to drink it, put it into a good brew system where you extract the water out of it in a healthy way, and then put it into a cup and drink it down using good quality water, you have a very healthy drink. We call coffee medicinal grade coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard me say that before, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's what I'm talking about with regard to a healthy coffee. What about if you take that coffee and you use lousy water? I mean, really lousy water. If you're up in Flint, Michigan, and you're using lead poisoned water,
flammable water, or that's exactly right.
Or you're buying a coffee from Aldi or one of the supermarkets that it was ground 3 years ago. Most people don't understand, but when they open up a coffee brand that's a lower quality brand, it could have been ground 3 years ago.
Yeah, for sure, man. And they ship them on slow boats, and it's weird how old and stale we let coffee get, and we're okay with it. We don't do that with bread. We don't go home and eat stale bread and just be like, what do you mean? No, this is fresh coffee is key.
Yep. So it's really important as to how you're preparing the coffee. But then the other thing is what you do to it before you drink it.
Right. Yeah.
So if you can feel me on this, coffee is very healthy, but if you add a ton of sugar, syrups, drizzles, whipped cream, artificial flavors, you turn it into a very, very bad thing.
Yeah, listen, I think that I don't want to throw anyone under the bus here, but you're talking about a certain type of coffee chain. We don't have those syrups at home. We go out to these places, we drive through them, and we say we're getting coffee, but we're not really getting coffee, you know?
So how many calories do you think is in a mochaccino or a frappuccino?
I said I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, and Dr. Coffee's like, let's go there. Let's effing go there. Calories. I don't want to sound like a dope. I'm so bad with... I know that they're up to like 70, 80, even below 90 grams of sugar. Calories. I'm so
How
bad
many calories in a cup of black coffee?
I don't know. There's like 3 calories in a cup of black coffee, right?
0.
Yeah. Right. I think there's a little bit.
Right, we'll call it 0. How many calories in a mochaccino? 1,000.
Oh my God. I thought I was going to look stupid by guessing 300. 1,000?
Yeah, 1,000 calories. You can have a mocha frappuccino that has whipped cream, that has the cocoa in it, that has the syrup with the sugar in it, and you can add another sugar to make it sweet enough.
1,000 calories. That's insane.
and there you're sitting with 1,000 calories. So that's what I mean when I say coffee can be the healthiest drink or coffee can be the worst drink.
Wow. And again, I think that we use the word coffee, but if you're adding, these aren't things you find in your kitchen. You're basically consuming a Krispy Kreme donut. How many calories are in a Krispy Kreme donut? I seriously wanted. I have to compare this.
Yep.
You can.
Well, let's look at your worst drinks. Soda.
Yeah.
Diet soda.
Right.
Energy drinks. Sports drinks. Frappuccino, mochachinos. Bottled smoothies.
Right.
Bottled iced tea. All those things are really tough. Ice cream milkshakes, but they're good. You have to have one every once in a blue moon.
Well, at least with the ice cream, you get a little bit of fat to balance it out there. It's a little bit of something. And when you get these synthetic kind of sugar injections with the pumps and the scoops and the drizzles, those really seem to mess you up. It's funny, looking at the actual calorie count, and I know that there's a lot more that goes into nutrition, but looking at the actual calorie count, even Krispy Kreme, a glazed donut, original glazed donut at 190 calories, right next to that on the menu, their caramel mochas are up to 440, 450 calories. So I've said this for a long time. I think we have a beverage crisis more than anything. We want out here in the West, out here in the United States, with our obesity crisis, our diabesity pandemic, as you refer to it. This is a beverage problem. This isn't eating too many donuts. This is too much sugar, too much soda, too many milkshakes, and too much, quote, coffee when it's not coffee.
Jordan, I don't know whether everybody really realizes it, but let's take coffee creamers, for example.
Oh, yeah.
So some brands of coffee creamers contain titanium dioxide.
Oh, my God.
Which is used for sunblock.
That's insane.
It's a UV radiation blocker, or it's used as a whitening agent. And studies with it in mice caused tissue and liver damage in just low amounts.
It's insane. That's so crazy. I despise these artificial sweeteners and artificial creamers. It's the one part of the coffee industry that I truly have ire for. I'm otherwise a peaceful creature, but this one subject gets me so worked up.
Well, I'll work you up even more. They contain trans fats, which are hydrogenated oils.
Right.
Nobody should be using trans fats ever, ever, ever. It also contains flavorings like hazelnut, which is loaded with a ton of unnecessary sugars.
Yeah.
And a lot of these creamers contain a form of butane, which is called TBHQ.
Yeah. It's the stuff they put in chicken nuggets. You're literally putting like fryer oil and chicken nuggets in your morning coffee. It's gross. I see people doing it on Instagram in my communities and stuff, and I hold my tongue, but it's really hard for me, Dr. Steve. I just want to say, drink it black. Add some whole milk or some local milk or just anything but the creamer. Creamer. What is creamer?
Yeah.
Is it who invented the word creamer? I gotta dive in. We do coffee history. I want to know the charlatan who made the word creamer. It was because he couldn't sell cream. He wasn't good enough to sell cream, so he made creamer. Man, I'm fired up now.
So do we have time to do one more, or should we save it for next time?
Honestly, Dr. Coffee, I think we should save it. These other questions are going to go long, and I want to dive deep into these. This was such a good episode. The fact that we only made it through 2 is a testament to your thoroughness and to the chemistry on this show, man. I love doing these with you.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to doing more. And I want to remind your readers out there, or your listeners out there, that the Healthy Benefits of Coffee book is done. If anybody would like me to email a copy to them, they should send you a message, Jordan. I'll be glad to take all the emails and send them off a copy of our Healthy Benefits of Coffee.
Absolutely. Can I throw out our emails really quick? puritycoffeepodcast@gmail.com and then doc@level1diagnostics. Is that right, Steve?
Yep, doc@level1diagnostics.
And that's the number 1, if I remember correctly.
It's not ONE, it's the numeral.
Numeral 1. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. This was a hit episode. I know we're going to get good feedback, so I'm just going to go ahead and say expect more Ask Dr. Coffee shortly and regularly. We have Ildi Revi coming back on the show talking about coffee cultivars. Mary Beth Sanchez, of course, to talk more about organic farming and the soil food web. Lots of new guests lined up. Stay tuned. Stay subscribed to the Coffee, Health, and Science podcast. This is Dr. Coffee and Jordan Rivers signing off, saying have an extraordinary day, everybody. We'll see you next time on the CHSP.